What up, man? We back. How's everybody doing? We got some special guests in the building today. As usual, we got Keith on the boards.
I'm here.
We got the regulars. Enrique's in the building.
What up?
Chris is in the building.
Yo.
We got Candidate Way in the building. Man, listen, we got a first we're gonna say rest in peace to Craig Mack and Steve Hawking. A lot of these people probably don't know who Steve Hawking is. We know he died and went to the cosmos.
Yeah, for sure.
So he didn't believe in God, but he was a genius. Most intellects do not believe in God, but they fear is just the same. Erykah Badu told us in '97, I think that was.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna say rest in peace to both of those guys, man. Craig Mack, Flavor in Your Ear.
Craig Mack was young, man.
Yeah, what is he, 46 or something like that?
46, 47 maybe?
Yo,
that's really young, man.
They said he had told all his friends that he was dying. Like, I saw an interview with Eric Sherman.
Okay.
He went to school with Craig Mack, and he was saying how he called him like 6 months ago. He called all his friends from school and was like, listen, he had something was like only half of his heart was working or some shit.
Wow.
So, he knew for a while he was dying.
He got to make his peace and say his goodbyes.
Yeah, he was actually in the middle of doing a documentary on his life.
Wow.
Okay. So we'll get some kind of footage.
Yeah, hopefully that'll be out. And, condolences to his family.
Yeah, dude was a legend, yo. I mean,
He was awesome.
Bad Boy meant a lot to us from the 90s.
Yeah.
Man. Listen,
he was our intro.
I was
Project
gonna
Funk
hit
the
on that
World.
Bad Boy
Yeah.
stuff.
Project Funk the World.
I was gonna hit on that Bad Boy stuff. This and it may be kind of in bad taste because we are talking about his death. But when you look at like Bad Boy and like all the past Bad Boy, you look at the roster and everything like that. Like Craig Mack, he left and deeply religious person after he left.
Right.
Shine, deeply religious person after he left. G Dep, deeply religious person after he left.
Different religions.
Yeah. Loon.
Yeah.
Mace. Like
Loon, what do you do? Is Loon the one that caught the body?
No, it's
Was that G-Dep?
G-Dep.
G-Dep caught the body. Loon's doing time for some. It doesn't even sound like a. It sounds like a real fishy case.
So
Actually,
Loon went like Muslim, like hardcore
Yeah.
Muslim.
Yeah.
Right? And then I think Shine went Jewish.
Yep.
And
Shine is straight acidic, man. Yeah, he's like Orthodox Jew.
Like with the
with
the sideburns.
I didn't even know there was like
yeah.
black Jews.
Me neither.
Black Israelites. I think he might be the first.
Yeah.
Nah, he's definitely not.
Nah. I
Either
think
way.
that's actually a thing. Like black Israelites.
Hebrew Israelites. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we all know about Pastor Mace.
Mason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So
I
Puff
don't-
is the devil.
I don't know what the fuck.
Apparently.
I mean,
Apparently. If Big
that-
was alive, he would have had a
That's
gospel
right.
album.
yo,
Yo,
Puff's like
everybody.
stupid rich, right?
his
But
hustle is crazy.
his business has been public for decades, so we've witnessed him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. We see his success, but we also see his motto of success is giving someone else a venue and capitalizing off of their talent. There's nothing wrong with that because, I mean, he's a showman. He's a modern day
Right.
showman, like Circus Barker, whatever. But, I imagine they all have a story to tell where, like, yeah, I mean, I did a deal with the devil to get my shine.
Can you imagine French Montana in 5 years?
He's probably going to be Pastor Montana.
Yeah.
Priest
Hold on.
Montana.
Jehovah's Witness.
Before we start bashing my guy Puff here, Puff said that on his last documentary, which he had some film in Lancaster. It was out at Lidditz at that.
T Towers.
Yeah.
T Towers, yeah.
But he said, talking about Craig Mack too, like the presence and the powerful, like it's a big deal to be on Bad Boy, and it's a big experience. So when you leave it, you can't just go back to being regular.
Yeah.
And people struggle with that.
I mean,
that's where you
That makes sense.
For real, like, he ain't lying.
Yeah. No, I'm saying the Jets.
now Bad Boy's not
Yeah.
a big, but back then, like,
Yeah.
everybody that came out on Bad Boy was a big deal,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
The jet set in life.
Or at least they had a moment. Like, even Black Rob, when he dropped
Yeah.
that wall, they all had a
Yeah.
moment that was big. Like,
Yeah.
B5 even had a moment.
Yeah.
The
No,
band even
that,
right.
Right.
The
yeah,
band,
that's
right.
a really good point. That's
They
a
dropped-
really good
they-
point
they
because
tried one
it
album.
ain't like
They broke
it ain't
up,
like
I
they're
think.
struggling. Like Puff always had the money to make them center stage and shine the light on them and threw everything at them. So it's girls, cars, fancy everything, and then it's like, all right,
When
yeah.
when you had man, what's my man's name? Chopper come down here. People were going crazy. Was it Chopper?
Yeah, Chopper, yeah, we had him come to here. He was a dickhead.
People were going crazy about him. And he just got to go back to being a regular dude. He wasn't
Yeah.
even that big.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Took this nigga in Sneakerville and he stole some shit. And then they go look at us. Like he walks out first. He's like, you know who I am? I'm Chopper. And they look at us like somebody got to pay for this. We like, get him, fam.
I've been like, call the Jake, yo. I don't know his name, but he's on TV. Call him.
Anyway,
Yeah, and the thing was, he probably fully expected you guys to pay for it to make it go away.
Because he probably did that before, and the people that he was with probably paid for it.
Yeah.
he was really walking around like he thought he was like Weezy at the time. I'm looking like fam, like nobody even knows you.
Yeah, you were in a video with Puff. That's not saying a lot.
Yeah,
For real, he's a reality TV star. I mean, if
Yeah,
you
that's
wanna-
all, yeah.
if you
Because
wanna
that was
look at
the
it.
moment. Like the only
Right.
one that really did something after the band was Ness, right? Like
That's how
Yeah.
little something, but nothing crazy.
underground.
I mean, and he's staying relevant through the battle scene.
Yeah.
You know, I know Ness does have a podcast that gets a lot of views in Philadelphia. Ness was actually just in Lancaster for a battle that we had in Lancaster against Boss Status. It was just a little two round battle.
He's still battling too. Ness is
Ness came down and battled. He battled Boss Status from Lancaster.
okay.
Yeah,
I didn't
so
even know he was even in the.
That's
what's
pretty
up.
cool.
yeah, well, you know what? Sometimes the battle rappers in Lancaster kind of keep things on the low because they don't want the city to actually come and see them get ate up.
Okay.
So it's like they don't call on Lancast Lloyd to promote it because they know, people are going to be in the building,
Might get
the
embarrassed.
cameras are going to be rolling.
I ain't trying to look bad.
And Lancaster the type city where you can. Everybody knows
I'm
everybody.
right,
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna see you with
Soon
your
as you
kids
walk
at
in
the
the mall,
mall,
you
yo.
Yeah. So
Yo, it is the kind of time to be like, don't act like you don't see me over here. I was there, man. I wasn't gonna say nothing until you try to act like you didn't see me.
Definitely. So, but Ness is definitely, trying to stay relevant through the rap battle scene.
Shit, shout out to E Ness, man. That's what's up. Maybe we can get him on our podcast sometime.
Yeah.
Let's backtrack one more time, too.
Listen, we ain't gonna keep talking about.
Before that,
Brand's wearing his shiny suit. Y'all didn't even know.
you guys call Craig Mack a legend. Are we giving him legend status?
No.
You know what?
I was
When
just
he
being
died,
respectful.
he's not. Who called him a legend? Chris called him a legend.
I said he was
You guys-
legendary because he was our intro to Bad
He had a
Boy.
legendary song.
I was going to say that. I was
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
say
yeah.
that flavor in your ear, just hearing
That's a classic.
him say that,
Yeah.
on
It was
any
the
cut,
floodgates.
on any
It was the
cut.
floodgate
Right.
for a couple years
Right.
worth of good
And his
music.
two singles after that were decent. But you know what happened? Like,
You had his album.
I
Billy had everybody's album. I
Yeah.
I did have mad.
He definitely did.
Yo, Billy's never had an Eminem album, but he has had like a Beastie Boys album.
No, I had the Marshall Mathers
Oh,
LP.
you did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the rest of the. I don't really like Eminem's music like that, but that's a whole nother story. What was I saying before that? Craig Mack.
Yeah.
When he died, and I went back, I was like, when people die, you go back and listen to their shit. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go put the Craig Mack. That shit is doodle. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Though. Rest in peace.
Damn.
Rest in peace.
Damn.
He got some bangers on there.
Yeah.
He had a
He said
couple.
my man's album from 90, what was it, 92?
You know what I'm saying? They listened to that shit. I was like, no wonder Puff focused on Big.
I mean, I don't think it was ever a shock why I focused on Big.
Well, Big didn't like Craig Mack either too much.
Yeah, they didn't really get along, I heard. But, I mean, you know what? I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but
Even his one hit though was like it was the remix that made it popular.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was.
The remix. The original was like
and Biggie bodied
And
him
Big.
on his-
I'm about to say he bodied the.
Nah,
Yeah.
Big did. Yo, Big ended Craig Mack's career. Big also ended Bone Thugs and Harmony's career by having one verse on one song.
Did they really not have any more hits after
Come
that?
on, now. Yo, Thuggish Ruggish Bone came out and everybody was like, damn, he fucked their whole style over.
Nah,
And
but
these guys-
Bone sold
these
a
guys-
lot of records,
yeah.
yo. Bone had a...
Check the stats, though. How many records they sell after that?
I
don't think they had a career after that.
No, yes they did. Yes they did, because that East 99, that was 99, right? That East...
Nah, that was their
Didn't
big
they have an
joint.
album called like 99,
Eastbound, something
The
like
That was
East
their first
99
album, though,
Yeah,
wasn't
the
it?
East
I think that might have
1999
been.
Eternal was like their biggest selling. Now we all know about them
Didn't
outside of
Crossroads come
Cleveland.
out after that Biggie joint? I don't remember. I don't really remember. I wasn't
They
that
had some
big on
solo
Bone.
albums after
I like their
after
first
Life After
album.
Death.
No, I think Crossroads was first. Then the big track came. Cause what year did what year
Ready to
did,
Die came out in
Life,
97.
Life After Death come out?
97.
97, Life After Death.
Oh,
Really? 97?
Yeah, my senior year.
So maybe Crossroads might have came out after.
I think
Crossroads was
they was-
after, because I think I was in
Bone
high
was still
school.
making hits.
Yeah.
Bone.
All right, I'm looking it up.
Now, granted, also on the East Coast wasn't fucking with Bone right there.
Yeah.
They was doing numbers though. Don't get it twisted. Bone.
Right.
Yeah,
might-
they made like $1 billion, but I'm telling you, man, their
And they don't
career
look
wasn't.
They might have been making music, but like it was when they all branched out, I think. Because remember when I think it was Crazy Bone, he did
Crazy
that,
Bone
that
was
THUGBB,
the significant one of the
thug
group.
mentality
That's the
we
one.
got.
That's the one that was real fast. with
Real
his-
fast. Yeah.
1995
bodied
was
that
when
Crossroads.
East 1999 Eternal came out with Crossroads and all their big ass singles.
What was that?
95.
95.
Yep, 95.
After that.
Oh,
maybe,
man.
Maybe Big did body though.
Well,
I'm telling you.
R.I.P. Bone Thug's career.
Don't get it twisted. Bone put the whole hood of Cleveland on. Remember they
Yeah.
had Mo Thugs,
Yeah.
all kind of thugs. It was
Yo, they was like a Midwest Wu Tang
Yeah.
wannabe
Yeah.
almost.
They put everything. Uncles, cousins, everybody had to do it. So we gonna talk about your president getting them out of here. He just firing everybody, huh? He in there like anybody can get it.
Right. He I think he's locking himself on the NBC set of Apprentice, and he's just like having his administration come in and he's firing them.
Like what the hell is going on? This man,
I
listen,
fired this guy with like 2 days to go before his retirement.
Retirement, yeah.
and he don't get
On
a
some
pension
petty.
or something like
Yo,
that.
on some
Yep.
petty.
Dirty, man. It's
On some
dirty.
petty.
Dirty.
So Rex Tillerson, I mean, he was out of there because he told the truth about the Russians, about the assassination they did over in the United Kingdom, and then he gets fired 48 hours later.
Yeah.
So how long are we really like? We must really be scared of Russia, huh? Like, I feel like
I don't see how we're not.
I just read a couple days ago that they like have complete control of our power grid.
Yo,
at any time.
yeah.
They
So
can
look,
shut the
they
whole
and
power
look, the
grid
White
off
House,
in the country.
the White House buried that story. The White House, that should be
Yeah.
front
I'm
page
like, why is
news.
nobody
Like,
talking about
yo,
that, yo?
the White House admitted it, but like dumped it in the news dump, so it was in with all this other shit that no one's gonna really pay attention to. But they're saying like these guys,
They can really shut the
that
country's power off.
Russia successfully cyber attacked our power grid. That's crazy, man.
Could you imagine?
That's crazy.
The whole country just
And
power
and there's
off.
and there's
off.
mountains of evidence that they interfered in our election. I mean, we know this. Like, we know that they tried to hack actual voting machines. We know that they hacked voter bases. We know that they hacked the DNC.
Here's my
They had
question.
the troll farms.
Yep.
When did we become Russia's bitch? I thought we was the big bad guy. Like, when did they start punking us? Like,
Yeah, I mean, Obama set a red line, and Putin crossed it, and Obama didn't do anything
Didn't do-
about
yep.
it, and then sanctioned him after it came out that he hacked the DNC. So that made Obama look pretty feckless in the face of that stuff, which is problematic and disappointing. But it started long before that because our hands have been tied. Because we have, it's weird to say, but because we have forward-thinking leadership, bigger picture, endgame leadership, we let some aggressions go too long, too far,
Yep.
when we should have been really concentrating on them to prevent them.
Yep. Just like with Putin. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's something like he was about to be done as Russia has what prime minister
Yeah, they have a prime minister, and then the other position
that he created
that for himself.
Yeah,
to
like,
give himself a break from prime minister.
Right.
And then it was his buddy that got elected, but really he was just the president.
Yeah.
And then now he doesn't even bother with that anymore. They just had an election and he won, air quotes, won the election. It's like, dude, I mean, they kill any dissident. This attack that happened in the United Kingdom, it's not even the first one that happened in the United Kingdom. There's been handfuls of them, and in other countries too. And they're always Russian dissidents that, told the truth about the oligarchy or tried to fight corruption or just, got on the outs with their old partners in crime.
So we basically can't even go to war with these we can't go to war with them.
There's some people say that Putin's the richest man on the planet. I mean, he definitely was the head of the FSB, which is probably the biggest criminal organization that's ever existed.
Are they more powerful than us now? Is that?
I mean, I think that's I think powerful is probably a sliding scale that goes back and forth between us. We've got each other's hands tied. You know what I mean? It's always like a push and a shove, a push here to test a weakness. Right? And while you're testing this weakness, you start testing another one, and you're going to bust through one of them. But we do the same thing. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Like, we wouldn't let nobody else fuck with us like that. Like, we would never, ever... But Russia is kind of like...
So what you're seeing is cracks in the facade where, like... Yeah, you're seeing cracks in the facade where it's like, these guys definitely want to become an imperial power again. Like, make no mistake about it. They want to go back to the turn of the 19th and 20th century.
Back to USSR.
And, before World War I, which was only 100 years ago, most of those powers on that side of the world were still kingdoms with royal families that built their wealth off of centuries of exploitation and slavery. You know what I mean? We didn't have a royal family, but we built our wealth the same way. We copied their model. But after World War I, us and a few other imperial powers were still around, and we kind of carved everything up. And then, that's why. But that's also why World War II happened, because people were pissed off about losing their entire existence and histories and their piece of the pie. So World War II happens, and again, now there's no more imperial powers, but you have a Cold War where Russia is against everybody else. You have communism and capitalism when we form these alliances, and it's a grab for like the science that was discovered during the war, for the wealth of riches that were plundered from all over the planet, and who wound up with control of them. And then we start going into South America. They start going in the Middle East. I mean, it's just, this is all like in a blink of an eye over the last 60 years, and now it's all coming to a head where Russia wants their number one spot back. They want their regime, their imperial regime on the planet.
Yep. There's also there's like this whole race to the bottom of the ocean to see who can mark the bottom of the ocean as a part of their land, a part of their country. Right. And just as much as there's a race to the bottom of the ocean, there's another race to whatever country can get to whatever planet first.
Right.
So that country can claim that planet. So we're, just like Chris was saying, we're in a constant pissing match with Russia. And I think this time around Russia has the upper hand because of Donald Trump and whatever past business ventures or anything he had in the past.
Exactly. Which is why they helped get him elected.
Exactly.
Which is basically one of the most brilliant moves
Well, you said pissing match
ever.
Do we think Putin really has video of Donald Trump being pissed on?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, he might have video of Donald Trump with the dead hooker's blood on his hands.
So he had hookers just pissing on him on video?
That would not surprise me at all. I think wealthy men Trump that have had everything they ever wanted are down to try new things.
He got prostitutes pissing on him. He's a dirty man.
Yo, everybody in his cabinet's getting quitting or getting fired.
Yeah, man.
It's a toxic work environment.
That's the thing about politicians. Like, politicians live their whole life as politicians, so it's less to find,
Dirt on
them. Because
Yeah.
they've been living that way for a while. Donald Trump's been a celebrity.
Yep.
He's been living life as a celebrity.
And all his dirt's out
For
there.
decades.
Yes.
And he was always rich beyond
Yeah.
anyone's imagination.
He left a trail out there.
Yeah.
And now, the strippers are coming
All
back.
right.
And
Well,
everybody's
and yo,
coming
and
back
that's a Mueller. All the experts say that Mueller's investigation takes so long for two reasons. One, he's brilliant and good at his job, so he's going to cover every base possible. But two is that the Trump organization, the Trump family, and the Trump history is so entangled in corruption and criminality and misdeeds that it's impossible to sort it all out and find out where everything meshes together. So it's like, but there's people that have been writing about this dude for a long time, whose careers have been ruined because they outed all this dirt about him. Like,
Exactly.
the dude doesn't build buildings in New York and New Jersey for decades during the 70s and 80s without being in bed with the mob.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
I'm talking
a whole lot
about
more people.
having opponents conveniently disappear.
I
You know what I
think, I
mean?
think they're gonna. Shit's gonna hit the fan eventually. Like, even if he don't go to jail, because I don't think we'll send one of our presidents to jail. But shit's gonna hit the fan. Like, there's a whole lot of shit about it come out about this.
Well, I can't say what I wish would happen to him.
I mean,
Not on the recording anyway. But
we all fuck Donnie over here. So.
yeah.
One thing, I was Friday morning, I was doing some research and everything like that. So I was watching MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News. MSNBC, CNN, the Stormy Daniels' lawyer came on, and he was saying how she was physically intimidated to sign that non-disclosure form. So he was saying that since she was physically intimidated, that invalidates that whole
Right. It's coercion.
And there's two other women who, same instance, were forced to sign these non-disclosure agreements. So like he was saying that Stormy Daniels, she's not the only one.
It was business as usual for him.
Yeah,
like
and
he got a
there's
guy
lot more.
that has a guy that has a guy for every situation.
Yeah, he's running the White House like a Weinstein company.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I mean,
yeah.
honestly.
That's your soundbite, yo.
and then Fox News. Now, granted,
Fox
this
News.
wasn't a bad
Obama,
story.
Hillary,
Yeah,
Obama.
yeah. Now they did
Protesters,
talk about
protesters.
There was,
Like, come on,
there was
man.
like a crash or something in Afghanistan that killed 7 soldiers.
Right.
So that's bad. You'll
Right,
hear stuff like
right.
that. But I watched Fox News. Lord, it was a long 45 minutes, but I watched Fox News for 45 minutes, and it didn't
More
mention.
power to you, man.
Oh
That's
man,
why I watch
I can't
Fox
get that
News.
back.
I watch Fox News at the gym because I just want to see what they're talking about.
Mhm.
So they be so outlandish, but
Yeah.
I want to hear what
Crazy.
they're talking
Yeah.
about. Like, because you need to know what crazy people think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like
Yeah.
incubated in their own lies.
Yeah, it's like,
And they're stewing.
and they go hard at it. Like,
Yeah.
they don't really. They say lies with meaning.
Yeah.
I be looking at them like,
with gusto.
yo, fam, you can't
gusto.
believe that. I know you don't believe
Yo,
that.
isn't that? It's kind of horrifying, yo. It's kind of
It is.
horrifying.
It is.
But the
'Cause,
crazy
like-
part is, like, with that Fox News stuff, there's people who fully believe
Who
that.
believe it,
Yep.
yeah.
And then there's
That's
people
why
that
they do it.
Yeah.
Because they pound they pound their message home so much, and that's why Trump's in office.
Yep.
Because they can just
Yep.
tell you lies,
Your Fox News uncle.
and
voted
whatever
him in.
goes against what they say is fake news.
Exactly.
And now they got this fake news shit out there, so everything's fake news that they don't agree with.
Yep.
It's. I mean, there's going to be a committed percentile of our population from here on out that's committed to the entire conspiracy of like what we learn in public schools is a liberal agenda
Yep.
to make you gay and drink abortions every Friday morning. I mean, it's like ridiculous, like
Insane.
there's going to be millions of people that will be the staunch, tried and true base from which a group and party of hatred can maintain some kind of power.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they'll call themselves. Maybe they'll always be the Tea Party, but it's definitely here to stay.
No, yeah.
is here to stay. They got a president elected. They know that their voice has power. They're not going away.
Yeah, and that's who Trump awoken. Like he woke
Yep.
all
That's who he
folks.
talks to. That's
Yep.
who he tweets to. That's who he's the president of
And
now.
like we're busy fighting amongst each other with hate, and then we wonder why Russia can just come in and just take back top
Right.
spot.
Well,
Things
and
like
you know that's like old school. Like thousands of years ago, they would send people into a kingdom or a place they wanted to conquer ahead of time to sow dissension
Via Facebook,
and to
man.
to sow dissension
Destabilize.
and then destabilize the local community, and then you can take over without a fight.
I actually have to step away. Like when I see like political talk that's not what I would think is logical, I have to step away because I found myself always getting pissed off.
Yeah.
And I like you were saying last week, like, and it makes me have less respect for you because of what you think.
Right.
And I shouldn't be feeling that way. So I had to step out of that and be like, you know what? It ain't even that deep. Like,
Because then we falling into that. We're falling
it's
into
not even
that.
that deep. You're like,
And they use like Americans' freedoms against us.
Yeah.
So like
Right.
they're gonna come in and attack us via Facebook and split that up, and then they're doing this stuff from their own country. They don't even have to come into our country no more. They're on the computer just breaking stuff up.
Yeah, they have whole troll farms.
Yeah, like it's and they're devoting a lot of money towards it.
I just want to.
It's pretty. I mean, it's genius.
I just want
It's
to.
genius, yo. Yeah,
And we're
it
sitting
worked.
around,
It
yeah,
worked.
listen,
We're
So
sitting around just scrolling.
yeah.
I just want to
Yeah.
ask Putin.
Yep, yep.
If Putin would listen to this, please don't turn our lights out, fam.
Yeah,
Please.
yeah,
We actually gave some compliments here, man. We said
yeah.
it was genius.
When you say you're evil genius, man.
And if you release that tape of Trump getting pissed on, that'll do numbers, fam.
It would.
Talk. That'll do numbers.
Put it out on Facebook for us.
Yo, but when you do get rid of Trump, get rid of Pence too, please.
You know, and that's part of the reason why. That's the little reason why I don't want Trump to leave, because
Yeah.
Pence is like this. You don't know.
Yeah,
You don't
I
know.
I think Pence gets in charge, and it's all of a sudden we're like
Yeah, I'm
like
not,
Catholic Rome, 1250
that's why I'm not
AD, yo.
crazy about Trump leaving, because it ain't like it's gonna get much better.
Nah.
Right.
No.
They got a whole team of assholes.
No,
waiting to
yo,
take
at
over.
least with Trump, like he can F the Republicans out of their crazy ass fascist agenda. You know what I mean? He talking all crazy, but we see pretty much that no one sticks around.
Right.
Everyone sucks at their job. There's chaos everywhere. All the departments are in disarray, right? No one knows what the truth is about anything. Like, we can't even get real facts about anything
Fed
going on in
said-
our country anymore.
The Fed said they keep
Like-
information from Trump.
Yeah.
Like,
But like all
That's
the
Like, they
people,
can't, they
all
can't even
the
tell their
right.
boss, like, yo, nah, don't tell
Yeah,
him that.
yeah.
You can't handle that.
But like, just like everything's falling apart. Like everything's falling
Right.
apart. You know, it's like imagine like you just everything in your house just falls to shit. Your thermometer don't work no more. You know what I mean? Like you don't know anything that's going on, right? Your electric meter stops spinning. It's just everything's fucked up everywhere, right? But Trump talks all this shit and he's crazy and he means everything he says and he's so crazy that these guys spend all their time trying to write bills that they think he'll sign, and then he's like, nah, I ain't gonna sign that, and no one else will ratify it either. So like he can't get shit done. I mean, look,
Yeah.
shit is fucked up. I mean, the only thing he's doing is damage. But like, how many policy wins has he had in 15, 16 months?
That's
Two?
what I'm just like, I see
Two?
people, I see people.
2 in a year and a half?
People be
like,
like,
come on,
look
man.
at what Trump's doing, and look at all the goodies.
Because they
I'm
think his
sitting-
tweets are automatically like, that's
sitting
tomorrow.
there like,
That means
what do you
tomorrow
think?
these things are happening now.
I thought maybe I missed something, because I'm like, what the fuck did he do?
yeah,
What are you
yeah,
talking about, fam?
yeah. Like, oh, he stole more of your money and gave a bunch to the rich people. Like, yo, you're crazy. That's what they all do and what we said he was going to do, but I don't know.
Listen, man, Trump gets too much airtime, so we on to the next. What do we think about this? These bombs that they put in these mailboxes, yo?
Chris and I were talking about this off air, and like I think that this is being covered so wrong. Like if it was three white women, 3 white men, Christians, and evangelicals. Let's say that it was 3 white evangelicals that died because of mailbox bombings.
Can you catch me up on this? Like, what was it? 3 black families?
So, 3 Okay, so 3 victims across a period of like 3 weeks. The first one happened, and basically the response to it was like a 40-year-old, well-known, established local businessman, a black man in where is it, Houston?
Yeah.
No, is it Austin? Austin. All right. So this bomb kills him, right? And it's all mysterious, and they treat it as a homicide, but then they backtrack it and say, well, we're not sure, he could have like accidentally killed himself. Right, the black guy blew himself up with a bomb that he built to do something else. Is basically what the police said. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Make no goddamn bomb.
Yeah. I mean, unless he was like, unless he just, was a veteran, not getting the attention he needs. But so they don't report this. Like, it's not even. They don't even warn the community, right? And it's just like very minimal coverage. And then in the same day, a young black family of a like well-to-do boy who's like accomplishing all this stuff, a skilled musician, honor roll. His family got a package bomb, and he's the one that opened it, and it killed him. And then a woman was, I think, a domestic worker, so I'm pretty sure she was Mexican American domestic worker, picked up a package at the home of another predominantly, wealthy or well-known black family. Right. So they're saying, hey, look, there's a pattern, right, that anyone can see. 3 victims, what do they have in common? And now the coverage is, I mean, you don't even know the details of it, right? Yeah, it's not in your newsfeed all crazy. No one in the government's saying, yo, there's a fucking bomber
right
leaving packages in this community.
Do we not care because the victims are black? Is that
that's what it is? I mean, if it let's backtrack and look at the Muslim kid that came to school with a clock.
Exactly.
And how that wall-to-wall coverage of this kid bringing a clock to school, and that's all it was at the end of the day, was a kid bringing a clock to school,
say it was a bomb,
and they mistaked it.
Yes.
Like, nobody died, no nothing. That got wall-to-wall coverage, and that was not a real bomb and just people being racist. Now here's something that's actual bomb that's being mailed to actual American citizens.
It's being left on their doorstep.
It's
being left on their doorstep, and the reports are that these are sophisticated devices that have a delay and like a motion trip, and they look like packages that were mailed. So these
people were killed?
Yes. Yeah.
All of them?
Yes.
All of them.
Yes. And
Sheesh.
so there's victims. There's multiple victims of someone who's highly skilled or someone who are organized, which we see evidence of white nationalists and hate groups who give information to each other, like the incident in Charlotte, where they exchanged information with each other on what kind of weapons to bring that wouldn't draw attention, how to make it look like they were defending themselves, right, who to target and how to target them, and then how to respond once being like identified or approached by the police. So they were like that's like a conspiracy. You know what I mean? That's the legal definition of conspiracy. So it wouldn't be too far-fetched to see like, hey, these guys recruit veterans who are disillusioned and mistreated and lied to. They have all this propaganda programmed into them, so they take advantage of them. They use their expertise or teach them how to make bombs and give them a directive. You know who else does that? The Taliban. Like, that's exactly how Al-Qaeda and the Taliban work. And that's how all terrorist organizations work. And like Marquis said, if these were white evangelicals,
I was about to say, let's
you'd be scouring every neighborhood in the country.
If this was in white suburbia, it'd be on every news channel.
You also know what? Lowe's and Home Depot would stop selling every single component that you could use to make a bomb the next day.
Remember the snipers?
Yeah,
DC
Sniper.
Yeah. They was taking out everybody.
Right.
And you know what? It was a worldwide manhunt.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what we all said? they gotta be white.
Yeah. There was a
Gotta
man.
be
There was a manhunt. As soon as they were like, "It's black people," they were like, "Oh, we're definitely catching these motherfuckers."
Yo, when I saw him was black, I was like, get the fuck.
I remember when we found that out. You were like, "That's a goddamn lie," and I was like, "I don't believe it either, yo. It's a setup."
I was like, nah, that wasn't him. It couldn't have been him.
And
Nah,
if
we
you
don't
look
do
at,
shit like that.
if you look at like the Boston Marathon bombing,
But he was a veteran. He was a veteran, man.
was,
And he
he
recruited.
was, yeah.
He recruited a disillusioned young
Young boy,
boy to his
yeah.
cause.
yeah,
I wonder where he learned that skill.
we got to get away from this whole stereotypical thinking that white supremacists are stupid. Like we
Right.
we have to
They're
get
definitely
away.
organized.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, they're. I will say this, especially since white supremacists, white nationalist groups have been around since and this is short-sighted here. They've been around ever since the beginning of the 19th century, and like I
Right.
said, that's short-sighted. So the information, the traditions, the thought processes that they have, this is decades
Right.
of organization. So for us to assume that they're these hillbilly type gun-toting
Right. Like we see on TV,
right.
skinheads.
That's what they
Right. That's
right.
but
that's not
But
it.
we also are seeing that they are recruiting at colleges.
Yes.
That they're writing papers and publishing
Yes.
works
They are
that aren't
sophisticated.
bonkers and crazy. They're using trends in
Yes.
social media to subtly influence people.
And these-
right?
and these are your bankers.
And yes, and then they also have there's absolutely an organized branch that's tactical and aggressive. There has to be, because they also just arrested a small group of people where like several members have killed people, and they were so stupid in that they kept records about their crimes, and that's how they caught them. And it gets, it's so big and so convoluted, it's crazy. But what also needs to happen is that media companies need to be in the know and be informed who these groups are,
Yeah.
and disable their ISPs, cut their subscriptions, remove their ability to spread and prosper. I mean, it has to be that simple. And I'm sorry, that's not a issue of free speech. It absolutely not. If I can prove that you're involved in a conspiracy, we need to shut off their ability to communicate with the outside world. Like, they can't continue to spread their hate and establish connections with bad actors in other places.
Yeah.
I think, and they keep showing us the ones that aren't smart. So these are the ones we see. So we think, but
By design, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't.
So we
realize
we
that-
don't mobilize and think that's our
Yeah,
threat.
like,
Exactly.
So,
But we
I
all
mean,
know that's the threat.
and we see the ones that Trump got gassed. Like, we see the ones that are walking up on black people saying, "Hey, nigger,"
Right.
and they get punched in their face. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
listen, this ain't the '60s, fam.
Right.
Don't let Trump get you gassed. Like, it's
Yeah.
we are not going for that. Like, that's not happening right now. We're not scared no more. Like,
Yeah.
we're not marching. Don't come to the hood
Yo,
talking
and-
that nigger stuff. I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
and nowadays, like, you will get aired out. Like, if you do it on your job, we're airing your whole place of business out and making it real uncomfortable
Yep.
for your business to function.
And the thing is with white supremacists and white nationalists is that like it's in our faces, but also there was a story about this teacher that had like an undercover white supremacist podcast, and I believe she was teaching in the inner city or something like that. So like that's something we also got to worry about now, like
Right.
teachers being
They're
that-
infiltrating
Yes.
the infrastructure.
That's really scary.
loan
We got-
officers and
we got
right.
white-
accountants
That's
and all that.
that's
we
scary. We
don't
had
know who the architects are. We
we
don't
had a-
know who the officers are.
Exactly.
We know who the idiots are.
Yeah,
because those
exactly.
are the ones we see.
We had-
And those
we had a
people
white
are
supremacist
really
teaching
just
black
being
kids.
influenced by the conspiracy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, the ones that are vocal and stupid, they're not affiliated with shit.
right.
The ones that are affiliated, they have a mission. You know what I mean? Like, it is a secret society.
Yeah.
Just not in the way we envision it. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Like,
They
you
can live that way because, like, they're living in their bubble, like they're living in their country, folks. And when they get on the TV, they watch their Fox News.
Yeah.
When they get on Facebook, they like their white supremacy likes and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And that stuff keeps coming. So it's reinforcing them in their mind, thinking that they're doing the right thing.
Right.
And there's millions of people like them.
Yeah.
And everybody else is wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
And there's different degrees to that.
Yeah.
Because the ones on the furthest outside would be like people that we know, that we like,
Right.
or have had fun with in the past, that conservatives for America, the things they post is meme logic that's really short-sighted, that removes all the context and nuance out of something. And you and I look at it and we go like, damn, dude, that's a dog whistle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, but, huh? What? Like, no, how does that
Because-
not make sense? And
and
you're
what
like,
it-
yo, you gotta look at it deeper. And they're like, that's bullshit. Don't tell me about that.
And what
you're
it
like,
used
yo,
to be,
I
though-
know you're not a racist,
Nah,
but
that's
right now
the thing. That's the
right
thing.
now you're walking on that line
That's the
with
thing.
them racists,
I used
and
to-
you're acting like because you ain't rocking a hood and burning a
That's what I'm
cross
saying.
that's the only kind of racist there is.
I used to be
that's
able
not
to-
the real racist.
I used to be able to discuss politics with people, and we have a different opinion, and that's okay. You're Republican. I'm probably more liberal. I don't claim Democrat, but I have liberal thinking. You know what I mean? So we can agree to disagree. But now, the way the parties are set up, if you telling me that you support Trump, I'm already looking at you like you're probably a racist. Like,
yeah.
if you supporting Trump at this point,
And
I'm looking
that's-
at you sideways.
Yes,
Like,
and that's what we were talking about. How now we're looking at him sideways, right? And we're angry because hey, this is someone up until now I was cool with, or this is my family member. You know what I mean? And it's like you're making me real tense and awkward, and you know it too, and you're acting the same way. Now we got a bitterness and a resentment that we might let fester out of control, and instead of me buckling down and saying I got to start helping out with things or volunteering places or taking control and getting the truth out there or finding the truth, I'm too busy being angry and bitter and arguing with people on social media. And then people like they get entrenched because now I see some people where I'm like, yo, like you're devoting a lot of free time to like supporting some really ignorant shit. And it's like,
and they go above and beyond.
yeah, and I'm thinking to myself like,
You're racist,
yo,
fam.
well that too, but I mean I start looking at it like, man, what's going on with you in your life that like this is like you're consumed with this shit now, you know what I mean? Like, hey, look, everybody uses social media for a little bit of everything, but when it becomes like, yo, you're just like, look at me jerking off with my gun 24/7, you know what I mean? Or look at me posting nothing but Trump shit. It's like, yo, man, what's going on? Like, hey, we got to talk because I'm worried about you. You're being obsessive.
Like it shouldn't.
Like, what's
consume
going
you.
on here? Yeah. Because if
There should
all
be so
you,
much more
right,
going on in your life
right,
besides
right.
that, right? Like,
dude, if all you posted was pictures of your car and shit about Cardi B, I'd be like, Billy, like, let's hang out. You know what I mean? Like, let's get a beer. You know what I mean? Do you need a hug?
Well, Carla,
I would be
good
worried.
mother
I'm
ankles
just
though, baby.
wait, but I'm saying if it was one thing and one person and you were consuming, I'd be like, my man needs some free time, some outlets, some better healthy outlets.
right.
So I see these people getting caught up in the cult of personality. You know what I mean? And really becoming like Fox News spokespersons for issues they never gave a shit about
Yep.
and still don't know anything about. But they will convince you that they're getting a paycheck to talk about that shit. And you're like, dude, I don't understand you.
I don't even debate with him no more. I stopped. I had to step back. Like, first off, like I said, I don't want to wind up not liking you
Right.
because of politics. So I'm just gonna not talk about this. Like,
And I'll reiterate the point. All we can do is support progressive politics, policies, and politicians, and people that aren't politicians. People like Marquise and people like Brandon. Like, we gotta get behind them, show up for them, support them, help them, and get other people to do the same.
right.
Exactly.
Speaking of Marquise and Brandon, we have our educators in here. So I want to know how we feel about this nationwide walkouts that happened last week. Good or bad?
I mean, all like positive movement started with young people.
That's a
So,
fact.
so I'm all for it, and I was all behind it with our students, and happy that they stood up for something. Now in York, we did a good job of teaching what they actually were standing up for. And if you agree with this, then yeah, okay, at this time at 10 o'clock or whatever, you walk out and you know and stand up for what you believe in.
That's dope. That y'all
And there was
did that,
no punishment?
Nah.
Some schools said if you walk out, you're getting suspended.
Yeah. It was
no, York
it was
wasn't
like
that.
50-50 all over. Like McCaskey, they had, school district of Lancaster wide, every school. If kids wanted to do it, it was sanctioned, but they had to have a plan. And they had to say, this is what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. And then there was no punishment. But Hempfield, other schools, they were banging
crazy.
kids for doing it.
That's crazy.
And across the country the same way. Some school districts were like, we're supportive, or we're going to give you this time. And other school districts were like, we're going to ruin your lives for protesting, you protesters.
My kids go to a predominantly white high school. They're in Wilson District. And they organized their thing. The teachers sat down with the kids. They told them what it was about. They gave them all.
You're saying the staff and administration was like, we're
brought
supportive.
the kids in, spoke about it, gave them both sides of what to think, and then they organized it, and they had the kids walk out, and they came with them. They had them like a thing set up in the gym where the teachers was there and everything.
Oh, that's dope.
It was dope. Two of my kids walked out, and Trace was, I guess he said he was kind of neutral, but my other two, they walked out, and they explained to me why they walked out, so I thought it was dope.
That's the most important part, I think.
That they know.
Because look, I'm sure there's plenty of kids who were like, fuck yeah, I'm going out there.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
That was the biggest thing with me. I wanted to make sure kids understood why they were going out, and not just like a
But see, that's why I think it's so important for, as an educator, but also as a parent, it's a teachable moment.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you're teaching them. It's not a textbook thing you're teaching them. You're teaching them a life thing, also a citizenship thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's a civics lesson. It's a history lesson. It's a social studies lesson. It's a life lesson for anyone. Is what that's how I looked at it as soon as it was announced that they were going to be doing it.
I told my kids, like, yo, listen, I'm all for the protest. Just know what you're protesting. Like,
Right.
I'm all for you standing up for what you believe in. Like,
Right.
if you just walked out just to walk out,
Keep it real.
like, don't do that. Like,
Right.
So, I mean, I thought it was dope. What I didn't like was I saw, like, adults saying, oh, these kids ain't real, and these kids shouldn't be doing this.
Ain't that sick?
They're trying to make...
Ain't that
I'm like,
sick,
yo, how
man?
are you hating on kids?
Right. Right.
So these are kids.
It's
They started
because
a whole
that's
movement.
the narrative, yo. They okay, so it's the walk up, not out.
Yeah. Yep.
And my nieces are 19 years old, God bless them. They're like, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much victim blaming. Walk up to the kid who's being bullied and be nice to him as if it's somehow your fault that you got murdered because you didn't solve someone's mental health issue. And my nieces were like, yeah, tell rape victims to be nicer. It's like telling a woman to smile. Maybe she won't get abused. It's like,
if this motherfucker's crazy, he's crazy. You
Right.
going up and being nice
So
to
you're
him,
telling,
you're gonna fix crazy.
right, but also you're telling the kids, hey, go put yourself in harm's way. It's basically the whole that whole fucking narrative. The other thing is they're like not mutually exclusive. You know what I mean? Like we can do both, and also a lot of my experience in public education and with friends that are teachers, they tell me things like there are peer review programs and anti-bullying initiatives in school that are successful and do work. And if there is bullying, that a lot of kids get it dealt with in a helpful way. Like it's not all just doom and gloom, and our whole youth out here are just all savaging each other, and no one gives a shit about each other. I mean, we see that's not true. Look how these kids are reacting to this.
But sometimes it's not even bullying.
Right.
I mean, like with
and that's
Dylan
another
Roof.
cop out. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's another cop out. It's a way for the adults to say, oh, you kids are worthless and useless, and then when they start doing something, it's like, nah, you're doing it wrong, but don't ask us for help, and don't inconvenience us, and don't blame us, and
What it was
just shut up and go away.
It was the people who disagreed with what they stood for.
Right.
And
Man, that's
my
sick,
thing
man.
is, even if I disagree with what the kids was doing, like,
Kids.
and for real, I was kind of neutral on it. Like, I didn't. What they did, I thought was dope that they stood up for what they believed in, but I wasn't all gung ho about it. But I thought it was a dope protest. Like I thought it was dope that they took it upon themselves to set that up. I thought that was that's creative and it's progressive to do that. So,
Right.
But why would you hate on a kid? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. But
Yo, a point about that though is like Penridge is not too far from here. They gave 225 kids suspension for doing it. Right. So yesterday.
I would let my kids take that.
Right. So yesterday was the first wave of kids serving detention. They wore T-shirts with victims' names on them and sat with their arms interlocked for the entire hour of Saturday morning detention. Yeah. I mean, so I'm reading this story and I'm thinking like, these guys are foolish because these kids are a few years away from running for school board themselves.
Yep.
Owning or working at local businesses, running for other offices, owning property, being a part of the community as an adult.
And
they're going to remember who stood against them and who stood with them.
Doesn't that give you more hope for the future now?
Right.
Like,
And it should get these assholes shook that don't want to wake up, really.
They're not all little pumps and Takashis.
Right.
Don't believe the Tide Pod hype. You know what I mean? Don't believe that hype, though.
Like, some of these kids are really thorough. They're smart.
Here's the thing about like public education. Like, everybody's scared of somebody. So like with teachers are scared of principals. Principals are scared of the superintendent. The superintendent's scared of the school board. The school board is scared of the parents because they're the ones who vote them in. So it's you're always trying to cover your behind and you're always looking out for whoever you gotta look out for. But it's political, like everything. If you stand with the NRA, then of course you're not gonna let your kids. You don't want your school district to let these kids walk out in this protest because it's going to make you look bad and it's going to, whatever ties you have to whoever you have ties to. And it's just so political that if that's your school district, luckily, we live in an urban environment where some of us do where we embrace our kids being able to do things like this. But in them other rural districts, you see more struggles.
But there's a sad reality there is as adults and as a society we're letting our politics grind our children up, right?
Exactly.
Emotionally, mentally, physically, and sometimes like kill them
But
because of
hasn't
our
that-
failures.
But hasn't that always been the case though? We
Yes.
let our politics grind up our children? Because if we look at the draft,
Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
that's politics grinding up our children. Wars, politics grinding up our children.
Prison,
Prison,
pipeline.
education policies and everything like that. I mean,
Call me naive, but like when I ran for school board, I thought it was about education.
Yeah.
Like I was trying to help our school districts, and tired of hearing that negative term of the school district
Yeah.
Lancaster is bad.
And it was wild because it was like, oh, here's a guy that's a product of the school system that he wants to work in, has his children in that same school system, is an educator, whose father was an educator, and they're like, but you're not down with our squad.
and
You don't have the same colored poster as us.
and
And we're out here
stuff-
like, and I'm out here like, yo, that's fucked up. A lot of us saw that, yo, and I remember,
made no sense.
who those people were in the party. I remember.
Stuff made no sense. We had Brandon's campaign manager on, and he was telling us how like he felt more sorry for the city than he did for his actual candidate because he felt as though that the city actually lost out on.
And you were
somebody.
going to multiple other candidates' events.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. But see, that also said a lot about what you were trying to do. Like you were going to all these other candidates' events and listening to them.
The city didn't come out, man.
No.
I'm gonna need
I mean,
to
it
come
came
for
out.
my
Yo,
baby brother.
they came out. But yo, bro, here's the thing about Lancaster City, Lancaster Township, Lancaster County primaries. It's a Facebook fan club. And I don't care who gets mad at me for saying that, yo, because that's dead ass true. Mm-hmm. And it's a lottery. So you get a couple where you're like, hey, I like that person. I'll rock with them. So if 2 of your 5 I'm cool with, now I'm stuck with the other 3 because they are on your bandwagon too. They're on your ticket. And everybody else was jocking them, right?
Yep.
But here was Brandon. Yo, when I went to the polling place and they gave me my ballot, they had Republican written above his name.
Yeah.
Yo, and I spazzed out. Like,
they
wait a
trying to
minute.
do a man list,
He's a
man.
registered Democrat. He's running on the Democratic ballot. They were like, no, he's a Republican. He tried to cross party lines. I said, y'all out your fucking mind. He lives right down the street. I know this dude. Like, you're lying. And they were like, well, that's what we were told. And I'm like, I want to know who told you that. Who told you that? Because that's a fucking lie. You know what I mean? But that was what the party did to him, which is fucked up because instead of trying to get the vote out for all candidates and getting their platforms out and giving him a voice, because I'm a voter, my kids go to the school district in Lancaster, I want to know who's what. So we get we get someone on the school board who didn't go to school here, who doesn't have any kids, who's fresh out of college, and they're all of a sudden they're on a school board and deciding what my kid's going to learn. And that person has an agenda. I'm not saying no names, but I'm also not really being thin with my man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, but I'm saying I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed, and it's fucked up.
Yeah. We talked about it on Friday. I believe I believe she said there's 60,000 registered voters in Lancaster City.
60,000.
60,000
registered in the
voters.
city.
Yeah.
Really?
And only like 10,000 actually voted.
In the primary.
At general election.
Last year.
Yeah. 10,000 actually voted, and 5,000 of that 10,000 were Democrats. So
it was like a even split on turnout.
And
Which is weird.
Yeah.
But that's a weird dynamic.
But that also shows you that the city's not voting. Like if only 10,000 people.
And you guys talked about that specifically to the southeast and the southwest. Also, it's the same way. It's a really small number.
And if you look at it, if you look at the breakdown, and Brandon, I think you told me about this. If you look at the breakdown, the Northwest, like the F&M area, that had the largest turnout, and that area carries
blue,
the city's
blue, baby.
Yeah,
it's blue. President Ave is blue, baby.
And they'll put in whomever they feel as though that. And
well, I look, I'm not gonna act like that ain't how I've been voting for a while now. Like, I mean, ever since George Bush administration and all the hours of waxing political we did about that, watching the war live every night. Smoking blunts and watching the war. I'm not, that's fucked up, man. But how many nights do we spend getting right watching the war live on TV?
That's crazy.
And we're sitting there saying like, damn, they was doing this shit in Vietnam too. This was all fucked up. Why does this keep happening?
More crazy when you
and then the vote for us. I mean, on some real shit, the vote for us becomes we have to vote against a party rather than for a candidate. And locally, we talked about this before. All local elections matter. They matter more than anything anywhere could possibly matter. Yes. And now you're telling me that 10,000 out of 60,000 decides the rest of the city's governance? That's crazy.
And that's registered.
Yeah.
That's registered. So there's a whole lot more.
Right.
This is just 60,000 registered.
I want to switch to politic talk because we politicked it out.
That started out with schools.
Wait.
That's my bag, and that Marquise likes that shit too.
Yeah.
And we still need Brandon. We need Brandon in office.
Right. Get out there and vote for Brandon. He's back on the ballot. We touched on OJ last week, so I want to give reactions. Fuck OJ. I want to give reactions because we talked about it before we watched. Did everybody see the interview? Everybody saw it?
I could not finish it. I turned it off, but I watched it.
Bruh, that was like watching a madman. Like, I'm sitting there looking at him like
it was eerie.
I couldn't believe it.
The shit he was saying. I'm like,
He's confessing the murder.
He's touched. He's touched.
And the game became, which details is he changing?
You saw
right.
But
you know what I mean? Like, and I'm looking at his face, and I was like, I gotta turn away from this motherfucker.
Did you see when he started hypothetically explaining? He was going back and forth, like between what hypothetically happened to what really happened.
Yes, he was getting caught.
I'm sitting there looking like, he's telling on himself.
Right. Wait,
like, it's crazy.
Who's Charlie?
Who the hell's Charlie?
That's a big question.
And you know what I started thinking? Like, that was his split personality You know what I mean?
But
Like,
did you hear him
like,
say-
come on, how many movies we watch where they got the killer inside his head talking to him, yo?
Did you
like
hear him say no? But I always keep a knife under my seat, and I'm looking at him like, I was like, yo, you serious?
Yo, I'm like, yo, OJ dry snitching on himself like a motherfucker.
Right.
Like,
Then when he said, like Ronald Goldman jumped into like a karate stance,
Yo,
I was like, that's real
that's
detail, bro.
embellishment. That's embellishment. No, he didn't, because he was like, "Don't kill me, OJ," and he went first, yo. He
Oh, yeah.
definitely went first, real quick.
And then they, like, he damn near severed his head or some shit. Was that? Sheesh. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Listen,
Crime of
OJ,
passion.
That shit was
Crime of
wild,
passion.
man. That shit was what. Listen, we had a great talk today. We politicked it up. I don't mind. We got a lot of good shit out. Before we get out of here, though, Social Life Promotions. What is going on in Lank City?
All right. Link City, Saturday, March 24th, we have our second annual Spring Fling event going down at the Moose Lodge on Water Street, Lancaster, PA.
Heard that shit was lit last year.
Yeah, last year. This year we minimized a lot of things due to just being last minute. You know, black people, we're last minute on things. But yeah, we minimized it a lot this year. Last year we had it at the Elks Lodge. We're having it at the Moose Lodge this year. Last year we had it at the Elks Lodge. It was over like 450 people. It was sold out.
It's lit.
We couldn't let any more people in to the building. It was a great night.
Peaceful night.
Peaceful night.
That's what's up.
It was a peaceful night. Like I said, it was a great turnout. So this year, I'm expecting the same thing this year. For it to be basically to be sold out. We had to scale back on the tickets this year because we don't want people going out buying tickets and then we just have patrons rolling up to the door, paying at the door, and then the people that bought tickets unfortunately would be left out. So we even had to scale back on the tickets this year and just keep it at 100 tickets because pretty much this event will sell out. So the doors open at 9:30. Like I said, this is a more mature event. This is an old school, oldies with goodies, old school jams, a lot of throwback jams. We're gonna go into the 70s R&B, hip hop,
Nice.
into the 80s R&B, hip hop, and later on in the night, we'll push more towards the 90s. We're not headed past the 90s. So
How much are tickets at the door?
tickets are only going to be we're only charging $10. And
man.
the kicker, this is the buffer. You have to get there early because we will have free food and free beer all night. Now
Free food. That's my kind
Until
of
it runs out.
until it runs out,
And then cash bar also.
Right. And with the beer, we
got me
usually
sold
get
at
we
free.
usually get we usually get 2 kegs. We usually get 2 kegs. So the kegs usually we're always carrying beer out of there. So
Right.
we're always up on the beer, but the food runs out quick. I mean,
Right.
you got people with their family there. They're taking plates home for the
Yeah.
kids, and
Ain't nothing
which
wrong
is
with
all
that.
love. Which
Yeah,
is all
yeah.
love.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you got to get there early. So Spring Fling, March 24th.
Please leave
Moose
the bullshit
Lodge.
at home.
Yeah,
$10
leave the
for
bullshit at-
free food and beer until it runs
10
out, and then a cash bar.
cash bar. And also, if you do when you do get there, you will receive a ticket that enters you in. We have like over 10 door prizes to give
Damn.
away. Last year we gave away bottles of liquor, champagne, wine, gift cards, the whole kit and caboodle, and then we have gifts for best dressed male and female. So dress up, you might win something crazy.
Sounds like
I'm
the
telling
place to be.
you. Yeah, so be there March 24th. This is Saturday.
March
Moose
24th.
Lodge.
Moose Lodge,
March
Spring
24th.
Fling. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys.
No doubt.
No problem.
I just want to announce too. Today was the
Regal Finesse.
pre-launch of Regal Finesse. Regal Finesse has turned his first profit.
Yo, congratulations.
I am 1/3 of the management team with my homie right here, Enrique, and of course my lovely wife. Yes, Regal Finesse is official now. We
Congratulations.
out. Regal Finesse Apparel. We are currently building a site. We got all kinds of shit coming. This isn't just the tees and the hoodies. Like this, we got a line coming. Fam.
Watch for that coming soon.
We got a line. We put a lot of heart and thought and soul And
Yes.
this is our baby. This is like we've been building this for a couple months. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I know y'all saw me with One Brand before, and I still all love with One Brand. Shout out to
Shout out to One Brand.
yeah. Go keep supporting One Brand.
But support Regal Finesse
Regal
too.
Finesse is here now, baby, and
Yes.
just support this. The site's being built, and you're gonna hear a lot from us soon. Anybody else got a lot of stuff? Does anybody else got anything else they need to talk about?
Nope.
Vote
TCP
for my
Network.
brother, Brandon Bay.
Yeah, get involved, yo. Just get involved.
Right.
You know, I'm always say that. Get involved.
Lead them the right way.
Donate to charity, time, money,
And
goods,
Marquise
whatever you
Lovely
got.
will be on the ballot too soon.
Soon, yeah.
Vote for him too. Support our own.
Yeah. Are we allowed to say that?
I don't know.
You're allowed to say that.
I'm allowed to say that. Yo,
Yep, Lancaster Township definitely take over. Take
Yeah.
over Lancaster Township. Progressive Democrats,
Yeah.
just let's get absorbed by the city.
Definitely. District 8, make sure we all come out.
Yep.
it's been real, folks. Episode 4, Say Less podcast. Hear from us next week, baby.
Peace.
Go.
Right.